populism trends continue and the economy shifts from monetary to fiscal dominance, can't an argument be made that it's just cyclical deflationary, that this is just a cyclical deflationary downtrend with a new secular inflationary trend? Okay, in English, we have an individual here that is saying, Jerome Powell ain't going to be the man with the money printer anymore. It's going to be politicians, because people like Gavin Newsom win elections when they send you stimmy checks. So isn't it therefore possible that we're going to get more government handouts in exchange for votes, and that could end up creating inflation again? Possibly. But the beauty, at least in America, about our broken political system is that we actually love that it's broken, in that it's very difficult to continue to print money from a fiscal authority and fiscal regime because you have gridlock. And it's almost by design that the two-party system in a republic is very gridlockish, because it forces the government not to overstep and print money in exchange for votes, because you have a counter trend that balances that out. And gridlock makes it so that Congress really only acts when they have to, when there's bipartisan agreement. Like when the COVID pandemic first hit, you had a lot of bipartisanship because everybody realized, oh crap, we're about to walk into hell. Now, obviously, they overdid it. But now, because you have gridlock again, I actually think you are not going to see that sort of fiscal regime taking over that you're talking about. I appreciate the question. I think it's a good question. Well-structured question, too. It's definitely like a graduate college level of writing there. But in English, my response is no. And that's because we have designed gridlock to prevent exactly what you're talking about. Unless, of course, you're in moronic California, which, yes, that does, in part, make me a moron because I'm living in California. But you know what? I'm a moron living in some of the best weather in the world, so I'll take it. But again, my justifications for living in California are not the topic of this discussion. But look at California, where in response to your question, you actually do not have a system that has gridlock. In California, you have no gridlock. You literally have a supermajority of Democrats in the Assembly, a supermajority of Democrats in the Senate, and then, of course, and then all Democrats, right? And then you have a Democrat governor. So obviously, the only way you could get anything done in California is if you're a Democrat. California is a one-party state. And what does that one-party state do? Well, it actually literally does what you just said. California, the idiotic one-party state, sends inflation relief stimulus checks in the greatest era of inflation to buy votes because they're complete morons. But that's what you get when you have one-party rule. Thankfully, you do not have one-party rule in America. And so if you ever find yourself frustrated about gridlock in Congress, I want you to think about California and think about how in California you can have a governor who has all the power in the world. All the power in the world. The California governor is the most powerful person that exists because they have complete control over every institution. The judges basically do whatever the governor wants because that governor who might become president would appoint them as federal judges. And that's what they want. The governor has complete control over the Democratic Party because they have a supermajority of control in California. And guess what happens when you have one-party control? You hand out stimulus checks in the most expensive inflationary regime under the guise of, well, we have to give the money back if we don't spend it. And what do you not have? Great schools, great healthcare, or great mental education. In fact, you've probably got the worst homeless crisis on your hands in California, the worst crime crisis on your hands in California, where law enforcement feels handcuffed to do anything because of the policies of California. Homelessness has just gotten worse under this sort of supermajority of Democratic control. And our schools are ranked 40th in the nation. So congratulations, California. Your one-party control and fiscal power is really winning.